Welcome back to What Would It Cost? This week we're talking all things pre-construction.
And who better to have on the show than Corrado Arangio, the condo king himself.
You bought a shed in Windsor?
You made money in the housing market last year? No way.
Anything you shot on you would have made on.
What would it cost?
That's the $1 million question. You're looking at North Bay now is at $1 million. I don't even think they hand you the keys anymore. What is it going to cost?
How much? Hi, my name's Nicholas Regina.
My name's Michael Sakuro.
And you're listening to
What Would It Cost?
Is that good? Hi, my name's Nick. I'm the CEO and founder of Spark Financial Group.
Hi, my name's Michael. I'm the president and founder of Spark Financial Group. And today we're sitting here with Corrado Arangio, the king in pre-construction.
Thanks for having me, man. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so it's been a hot market, especially the last 2 years in all things real estate, but especially we've noticed on the pre-construction market, and we noticed a lot of developments coming up. So we're really excited to have you today to talk about, what's that looking like, what's the future of that, and ideally what our listeners are looking for. What would it cost?
Yeah, so the market's crazy right now. Everybody wants to get in. I feel that people are just kind of like FOMOing into buying pre-construction, fear of missing out. Just getting in the market because resale's tough because there's a lot of bidding wars and stuff like that, and so people they're tired of that, and they're like, let's just get into pre-construction. Like a lot of investors, end users, different people that want to invest.
Right. Yeah. And what are you finding is like the most common type? Like, is it a low rise, high rise? Is there a certain style that's like the most popular? Like that's one, it gets released and it's going, or is it just pretty much any development is getting released and they're going?
Yeah, pretty much every development, but people are savvy. Like they look at price per square foot.
Right.
A lot of the low rise stuff sells really fast, like detached homes, townhouses, semi-detached. Okay. They don't have maintenance fees. A lot of people go nuts for that, and a lot of builders actually don't really have agents selling that. There's some developments that I do. I focus on all new pre-construction, right. Low rise, high rise, everything. But yeah, the condos right now are booming. It's just the price difference between a condo and a detached home is significant. So people are like, we'll buy a condo instead.
Right. Exactly. Right. So what's the average condo price right now going in Vaughan?
In Vaughan, I'd say around, so Jane and Rutherford to Jane and 7 is approximately 1,200 square feet. $1,200 per square foot.
$1,200 per square foot.
Yeah.
And what's it look like downtown Toronto?
Downtown Toronto, depending the area. If you're in Yorkville, you're at about 2,000 in new pre-construction. 2,000, I'd say on average about 2,000. Depends the location.
Yeah. And how are other suburban areas performing price per square foot?
Well, I just sold a development in Pickering on average at about 1,000 a foot.
Oh wow. Okay.
The demand was insane. So I think it can go to like 1,100, 1,200 easy, and it'd still sell out pretty fast. That's the type of demand that we have at this time, right?
Right.
And what's the average been like in the past? Because I know for resale and everything, there's your slow growth, and then this year was exponential. So was there an exponential increase you saw in the price per square foot in the past 2 years, given pandemic and everything that's happened?
Yes. Yeah. I think because of inflation and stuff, and people, it's cheap to borrow money. Like it's not that you could just borrow money, reinvest it, and make more money.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. So that's what people are doing, and a lot of people are over leveraged though.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think eventually there will be some sort of correction.
Right.
I tell people that whenever they buy pre-construction, have the intent to close.
Right.
Because you never know what can happen.
Exactly, and that's the biggest worry, especially on us on the mortgage side. We're pre-approving people, we're going through the motion, but and it's great because they could afford it now. But I've been seeing some of these dates. It's like 2026, 2027.
Yes,
it's telling these people you got to make sure you maintain until then, because it's a long time from now. A lot could happen. Job can change. Yeah. You split or getting married, having kids.
Yes.
So it's a great point, because sometimes they just get into it and they don't have that background. So
so the first thing,
expect that.
Exactly. The first thing you should do, when you buy pre-construction, is go to a mortgage broker. Right. And figure out. Get pre-approved. Know what you're gonna, how much money you can get.
Absolutely.
Because if you're just speculating, you're just because it's easy to buy a pre-construction condo.
Well, with the payment structure, you put your $5,000 and then you got it spread out over the next 3-4 years for sure.
And it's happened to people where they they'll buy, they'll put the deposit money down and then after they can't close.
Right.
Yeah.
But then they could assign it.
Exactly.
At that point.
And a lot of people are getting into the pre-construction market because they're seeing an upside on the investment side of it before the building even gets registered or gets occupation. They're able to flip that assignment, right?
Yes.
And that there's a big market for that now, right?
There is.
How does that private market work where you're not able to list publicly on the MLS, but it's kind of like a known thing in the industry that realtors are moving these assignments from client to client and making your investors big money.
Yeah. So basically what the builders have in the agreement is that if, let's say you buy a condo and you want to assign it, you get an assignment, they have to approve the assignment. So even though you have an assignment, the builder could say no. Right.
On flipping that.
On flipping
and
it.
Changing
It's
in the contract.
The builder will have to give you the consent to do it. Now, it normally says that you can't post it on the MLS or social media or Kijiji. Right. But the way you can do it is you go to a platinum broker, a broker that has a real estate broker that has a lot of contacts, a big database. And that they could figure out a way to sell it. Because we could just send out an email. Go on our Facebook groups and all that stuff, and we're allowed to post it there, but they're private groups that people, the public can't see.
It's not like you're advertising anything to a mass.
Or WhatsApp groups. Like I'm in WhatsApp groups with like people all around the world,
so
realtors all around the world.
So it's out there. It's just it's within and tied into the network of the agent that's facilitating.
And it's not not that hard to sell. It's not that hard to sell.
And that was my next question. So I'm going to buy a condo in Vaughan at $1,200 a square foot.
Yes.
Walk me through what that looks like, and if I just wanted to invest and sell before the building was registered and make my profit, what's that time in between? What does it look like profitability wise? Let's use the average of the last year. What are my closing costs in regards to flipping that assignment over? What are the fees associated with it? Just walk us through that so our investors can be educated on it.
I always tell people I personally buy a lot of pre-construction myself. And I always close my units. I'll keep it for minimum 3 to 5 years. Okay. And that's worked for me and all the investors and people that have bought from me in the past. Now, if your mindset is to make a quick buck, I'll tell you, don't do this. There's no point. Like because you don't know what's going to happen in 3 to 5 years. Right. Historically, prices have some projects have doubled. Right. But I would tell them it's got to be a long-term investment. That's what I think. And I don't want to just sell something to someone and then they're going to be put in a bad situation. So make sure you can close first. But if it goes up during that time and you make a couple $100,000 or whatever, let's say you make 150 grand, right? And you want to assign it, then you could do it at that time.
And what are the costs? Like, so say, so it went from $1,200 a square foot. By the time I'm selling it 3 years later, it's at $1,500-$1,600 a square foot. Walk me through it.
So say you made 150K. Right? You're gonna have to pay a realtor probably about 5% commission. 4 to 5%
on the new sale price.
Yes. On the new sale price. You're gonna have to pay that, and so you save on like closing costs by doing that. Right. So that's pretty much it. And there's also another way. A lot of people like assignments because they could take some profit in 1 year and then some in the next, right? Or on closing.
Makes sense.
Very cool.
And then walk us through the structure of like your average down payment of a down payment structure. So everybody knows about the 5,000, but there's a lot of misconceptions sometimes of how it's going to work for the 20%. Walk us through.
So
what the most common is.
Sometimes it's 5,000, sometimes it's 10 on signing, and then balance the 5% in 30 days, and then like 5% in like 6 months, 5% in a year, and then 5% in like a year and a half, 2 years. So that's a total of like 20%, and sometimes 5% on occupancy. It depends. So, but normally it's 20% down in total.
Okay. And then it's funny you bring up the occupancy because that's a big thing. Again, I'm finding with a lot of clients. They're calling us saying, I'm ready for the mortgage, but they're asking me for all these checks. What's going on? I'm moving in. And we're explaining sometimes the difference between the occupancy and registration. So is there an average cost for, I didn't even know myself, is there an average cost for occupancy that they say, okay, your purchase price is this, we're charging you this for occupancy? So one to look out for, or is every building different?
No, it's pretty much the same. With all the builders, but normally maintenance fees, some buildings are a little bit more. Depends where you're buying. right?
Yeah.
And which project you're buying in. But yeah, normally it's the total purchase price minus the 20%, and you pay interest on that amount. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And question for you, and I know you've having experience working with you in the nightlife, and you give me
that's where we met.
Yeah, absolutely. and I don't want to look past that and not highlight it.
Yeah, we have to, man.
The chance that you gave me when I was breaking into the industry, and what you taught me, and the time that you took with me, and really, you know, walked me through what the industry was all about. First of all, I want to tip my hat to you and thank you for that. But second of all, you've always been really humble. You've always been really, you know, modest. You've always had this approach where you were all about empowering the team that was under you, and you were able to scale and build big promotion teams, whether it was in nightlife and now most recently in real estate. And what you've done in regards to building out relationships with these key developers and builders, and then how you've empowered realtors that are essentially, you know, taking on volume from you and funneling it through that channel, and that kind of movement, because we're seeing it on the brokering end in regards to all the pre-approvals, right?
Yes.
And there's a lot coming in. So explain to us exactly how you're able to build such a motivated team of realtors to stay loyal with you and to really pump out volume and continue to, you know, perform at a high level that you do. Right?
Yeah. Number one is just, you know, being honest to all the realtors and genuinely like wanting to help. Like that's just my intention, never to screw anybody over or anything like that. And, you know, like it's just, I put myself in their shoes and like, you know, at one point when I first started, I didn't have the opportunity that I have today. So I'm like, I want to help this guy. There's sometimes that I can do deals on my own, and I'll get an agent, you know, and give him a cut out of it and give him commission because I want to help the guy.
You were very selfless like that in nightlife as well. I'd see you do things, and it had, let me give you the shirt off my back kind of vibe, you know what I mean? And let me show you how this is done, just out of you genuinely wanting to see someone prosper and succeed, right? So
no, it's just you know, something that I just want to help other people. You know, I'm content with the amount of deals that I do, and you know, if I can help someone and, you know, make them feel good about it, because it's demotivating too, like when you're first starting off, right? It's hard to get into the business, and, you know, it's so for me it's just something that I just genuinely want to do.
And I'll never forget when you first got into the business, and it's something like you're that all or nothing type of character that if you get involved with something, you put your blinders up and you focus in on what you're trying to achieve and you go for it, right? And I remember when
go big or go home.
Exactly. And I love that, and I could relate to it in so many ways, and it's exciting to see what you've done in the short period of time that you've been in the industry, and how you kind of really, you know, just threw yourself at it and transitioned out of the nightlife and hospitality industry, which is tough to do, which a lot of people, you know, kind of shy away from when they're in that industry, right? So tell us a little bit about that transition and how, you know, you had to go without pay, because it's a commission-based industry for a year, 2 years, and not only go without pay, but inject capital into your project to scale it the way you did, and how your ass was shaking a bit because you had, you know, your wife and a little mouth to feed at home, right? So to bring us through that transition.
Oh, the transition was it was tough. It was really hard. You know, I remember I was going to quit because, you know, we did very well in the nightclub business. Like we made a lot of money. And for me to like start something else, but what I saw in the nightclub business was that why I wanted to move on into something else was it was a dying business. I felt like it was game over. It's done. Toronto's not the place to do this. You know, I'd have to move to like Miami or Vegas. So as soon as I saw that, I'm like, no, I have to get out of this. It's not for me. Like, it's a dying business. It's not the same as it used to be. Right. So I remember getting my real estate license. I didn't know what niche I was going to be in. Right. And then I figured out the niche, and by trying everything, and, you know, pre-construction was what I enjoyed because it reminded me of promoting.
Yeah.
It reminded me of getting people into nightclubs, booking them booths and all that stuff, but I was just getting them condos at the time, right?
I think the same sales mentality and just pivoted it.
Yeah. So it was like, I remember I asked the builder, I'm like, hey, how do I get access to these projects? You got to sell me 50 units.
Yeah.
I believed him. Because I believed him.
Because guys would say, I need 50 people in my nightclub.
Yeah. Exactly.
Minimum.
So you can relate to that.
Yeah. And then he didn't think that there'd be any way in hell that you could pull that off.
So
you did.
You'd probably do the same thing.
Right.
Call a bunch of your friends, people that, used to come and spend money at clubs.
Yeah. 100%.
Right.
Leverage that network. Yeah.
And for us to sell 50 units is not really that hard. It's just we have to call people. That's it.
Right.
And we have that database.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that's what I did.
Yeah,
and at the time, it worked out because the price points they were under $300,000.
Right.
A lot of my friends wanted to buy and invest, and I'm like, look, like this is a great investment. Like, just it's gonna work out. Like,
yeah.
I'm doing it myself, so let's do it. Like, this,
And your investors are really loyal to you. I remember having a conversation with you in regards to they continue to allocate their capital, and their equity towards what your next projects are.
A lot of the guys,
they get behind you and they're just like, whatever you're doing, we're in, kind of thing, right? So you got that serious cult style following now that you could move in any direction you want and power up whatever developer it is you choose, right?
Yes. So, it's true.
Yeah.
Like I can pick a building, a project, and I can make a few phone calls and sell units, right?
And that's you.
People trust me, but I'm not going to just sell anything.
Right.
And I think it's very important to buy from a reputable builder, not just any random new builder.
Right.
Yeah.
So tell me, like we said, there's been a crazy boom for 2020, 2021, now 22. Where do you think the market's going for pre-construction? I know you were saying, there's eventually might be that type of correction, but do you think at least in the near future it's going to continue to keep crushing as it is?
Yeah, I think in the next maybe 1 to 2 years, we're going to be fine. Prices are still going to go up, but I think there'll be a point where, it's just going to, there'll be a little bit of a correction. Okay.
Yeah.
But don't be afraid of a correction. Like, that's time to buy. And, again, if you're a long-term investor, you have a long-term mindset.
Yeah.
You're always going to do well in the long run.
Yeah.
So that's what I tell people. Like,
that's great advice not to be scared of it. You look at we talk about all the time, the 100-year graph of real estate.
Yeah. Exactly.
There's always going to be some dips, but it's always going to continue to grow. It's not like you're buying some tech company that's going to disappear or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
No, that's great advice.
Yeah. Okay, we just wanted to, end this off by thanking you again for showing up. We know you're a super, super busy guy that has a lot of investors to manage, a team to manage, and we appreciate your time and you spitting your knowledge and expertise at us, right?
Thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. Thanks. Corrado Arangio, the Condo King.
Thanks again for tuning in. Be sure to check us out on all your favorite streaming platforms, and be sure to like, follow, and share. We'll see you next week.
Next on What Would It Cost?
You have to let us be the planners.
Right.
If I want to be stupid enough to open up something that doesn't work, I will go bankrupt. Let the market dictate. That's the one thing about planning, which I don't agree with. City hall planning, to me, is ridiculous. If you want to open up a church next to a whorehouse, or vice versa, you can do it.